Hi there, my name is Kronenberg and welcome to my channel. This is a film review of Simon. It's a thriller, came out in 2016, it's a 15, it's an hour and 20 minutes. It's only available on Netflix, so Amazon is 2.9 out of 10. So I'll read both synopses. So Netflix is, Chris Bell plays a sinister serial killer whose good guy persona unravels when an investigative journalist breaks into his home. An IMDb is, an investigative journalist thinks she's found a killer and breaks into his place to find the evidence. Only when he comes back it becomes a game of cat and mouse with deadly consequences. So the director is Warren Budensky, who directed Dead Name. He also wrote this and he also wrote Dead Name. Producer was three of them, but with producer on we have Joe Newell, Newell, who hasn't produced anything else. Music was by Joshua Comley, Comley, who did the music for The Colour Black, and Nick Sharman, who didn't do the music for anything else. The cast, we have Katie Alexander Thom, Thom, who is Sarah Anderson, who was in The Village in the Woods, and Julian Lamoral-Roberts, who was Dr. Craven, who was in Chinese Burns, Chris Bell, who was Simon West, who was in Ripper's Revenge, Lexi Wolfe, who was Becky, she was in All Quiet on the Homes Front series. Nathaniel Francis was Detective Barker, who was in Fallen Angels, he's on the right. And Dean Martin, who was Detective Cunningham, who was in Essex Boys, Law of Survival, he was on the left. It's filmed in Kent and London. And trivia is the movie was shot in 10 days. I never would have guessed. So there's a warning as soon as I kind of like clicked play in Netflix. Some parts of this movie may be considered violent and cruel. I was kind of curious, due to the low rating, to what those were. So the very start, I'm assuming this might be Simon, right? Some dude walks up to, I'm assuming a girl he knows, and decides to inject her, right? It's then he lights his cigarette, picks her up, pops in a car, and lights his cigarette. And it's like, either they're cheap cigarettes or you basically crap on editing. It's a British film, by the way. Okay, I think I've seen the first death. Well, like I say, I saw a knife, then we saw some blood, and that was it. Oh, and the news presenter needs more training. She was a bit wooden. This is the news. So, there is a killer. Oh, no. It's like, oh my god. It's definitely British. It's absolutely belting it down with the rain. So at least the coppers are tactful when speaking to the mother of somebody who died, as opposed to a lot of the high-rated films. It's quite good actually. It actually does say this in IMDb. Let me just go to the goofs or whatever it says. It says when the detective and Becky were talking in the bedroom, she was leaning on the open door in head-on shots, and on the opposite door frame in mirror shots where she was talking. Yeah, she was basically on the opposite side of where she was. So when you were looking to her, she was on the left. When you looked in the mirror, she was on the right, or something like that. It was bizarre. But it's very obvious. So, if you get a contact number of someone to ring, so the copper just gave her a number, our illustrious reporter, and you ring someone and say, I've got information. Can I show you? And he goes, okay, yeah, great. I'll bring it over, and then they hang up. How do you know their address? It's just like, yeah. Happens a lot in films, by the way. We found a bit of information about the serial killers and the doctor she's meeting. That's quite interesting. I like these when they put a bit of story into it. I do like the doctor, though. He explains very well, including the how and why he gave up on a previous case. So Becky's been chatting to Simon, calling himself David at the moment. Because they're looking for Simon. After she's sort of been talking to Louise, is it Louise? Sarah, I don't know where I got Louise from. She was talking to Sarah, saying, he looks strange when I mention the name Simon. What should I do? And she says, just act normal. Maybe he's just a weird guy. I was like, yeah. And meet up again as soon as possible. It's like, how reassuring is that? So, if you're showing a guy has a split personality, where he speaks to himself in a mirror, can you make sure we can bloody hear him? The sound was abysmal. It was literally the case of, like, if I'm talking to myself, be like, what do? We need to go over there. But what shall we do? We need to kill her. Okay, so I don't want to. I couldn't hear it. It's like, what the hell? Bloody lighting. So it was nice and bright at one point, and then she was appearing to talk to Becky, and then it all went purple. And no, it wasn't like some of those other shitty films that I've watched where there is a purple light. I think the lighting was just crap. So you're breaking into a house, right? The back door is one of those ones with the large keyholes. You know, not the typical kind of like, you know, mortise locks or whatever it is. The back door keys. Bear in mind you've got nothing in your hand when you come up to it. So what you need to do is you just huddle next to a handle, and voila, you can get inside. And there's nothing in your hand, even when the door opens. Just a gentle advice again. If you're making a film and want to show a guy breaking into a door that has a latch type, you know, the ones that actually has a little lock on the inside, you can open it and you can lock the latch so it's always open, or you can just click it so it's locked permanently. You know, one of those ones. Make sure the door is actually closed, not outside the bit on the actual frame. Because it was like Jimmy and open the door and then sneaking in. It was like the door was already open. You could just push the damn thing. So, Sarah was attacked in the bath. She was naked. But then she's in the dude's house completely dressed. So, I'm thinking he dressed her, even though he's going to kill her. It's like, what the hell? Oh, by the way, just take the clothing off. It's like, what's the point in that? At least I think so, anyway. I'm still waiting for the cruel things to start at the very beginning. It said, oh, it's, you know, there's going to be cruel things and there's violence. And I was like, well, the violence was a bit tame. Where's this cruel thing? It's never happened. Now, it was okay. Nothing extreme or anything. Deaths were tame. We never really saw them. The ending was okay, I suppose. But overall, it's a 3 for me. It just didn't do alt for me, you know. Yeah, it just, and the camera was shaky at points, and I don't know, it didn't work. Anyway, hopefully you've enjoyed watching and listening to this lovely film review of Simon. Please subscribe to my channel. I've got plenty of the film reviews. Maybe you'll find something else that's a bit more better. Give me a thumbs up if you've seen this film. Yep. Okay. Well, thank you and goodbye.